Hey y'all, today I have a big video for you on how to properly analyze your Facebook ads performance and optimize your ad account. In this video, I'll be sharing my own expertise handling, optimizing, and scaling ad accounts that are spending anywhere between $1,000 a day and $10,000 a day. Whether you're just starting out with a small budget or you're handling large accounts, you're gonna learn practical strategies in this video that you can apply to become a pro at navigating the platform. We're gonna start with the most important metrics I track on a daily basis. When analyzing my ad account, I look at every campaign's performance specifically at the ad level. I always focus on 6 core metrics. That is CPA, or your cost per acquisition, spend and your AOV, or your average order value, your outbound click-through rate, your conversion rate, and ROAS, or your return on ad spend. But with ROAS, be careful with this metric, and I'll talk about why in a minute. I also consider the AIDA metrics for a more in-depth analysis of creative performance. Your CPA is going to be the most important metric in your ad account, and it's the basis of which I make all my decisions on. Your CPA is calculated by taking the spend and dividing it by the number of purchases you have. My goal is to always find creatives that can drive a high level of purchase volume at a high level of spend. And this is why spend is actually an important metric. It's important because we want to get statistically significant results from our ads. For example, if an ad only gets 2 to 5 purchases in a week, that doesn't mean it's a good ad. Ask yourself, will that ad perform well when it's spending $1,000 or $10,000 a day? Goal of scaling your ad account is to stabilize your CPA so you can scale more efficiently. Later in this video, I'll teach you how to effectively analyze creatives and find winning ads so you can do this. Next, let's talk about outbound click-through rate. Outbound click-through rate means that it's anything that is leaving the platform. It's important to make sure you're measuring outbound click-through rate because I'm only interested in measuring the users who are leaving Facebook ads and going to your website. So when I mention click-through rate in this video, you'll know I'm talking about the outbound click-through rate. Click-through rate is a very useful metric, but I caution you to consider the full context of your ad's data. A strong click-through rate on an ad is very good, but it doesn't mean that that ad is going to convert. Just because an ad is driving a large percentage of traffic to your site doesn't mean that it's actually convincing them to buy the product. It can also be an inflated metric depending on how much spend you have behind an ad. If an ad gets 10,000 impressions at a 0.5 click-through rate, for example, then you only got 100 clicks. But if an ad gets 100 impressions at a 3% click-through rate, then you only got 3 clicks. Make sure you're taking in all these situational data points into consideration that can potentially skew your perception of your performance. It's also really common for people to panic when your click-through rate drops, but ad performance can still be really good with a low click-through rate. Remember, if you're profitable and hitting your goals, then that's awesome, even if your click-through rate isn't as high as you want it to be. I've had ads with a 4% click-through rate that don't drive any conversions, and I've had ads with a 0.3% click-through rate that drive amazing performance. However, there's no negative side to improving your click-through rate. I'm not implying that you shouldn't care about your click-through rate or that you shouldn't try to improve it. You absolutely should, but I'm saying you should never turn off an ad if it's performing well and has a low click-through rate. Also, you should never leave an ad on if it has a really high click-through rate and it's not performing. A high click-through rate ad that's not driving conversions is what we call a spend sucker. For spend suckers, there's something about the ad that's clearly very engaging. In the Facebook ad auction, there's a thing called the estimated action rate, or the likelihood for a user to take action on your ad. Facebook likes this because it actually is very beneficial for their business to keep people engaged and clicking through on your ads. Now, that's why ads with high click-through rates that don't convert are likely to continue to get spend, because Facebook thinks that it's really engaging for your user base. But just because an ad is engaging or clicks through to a website doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to drive conversions. Now remember, this could be influenced by your landing page as well, so if there's something you need to fix there, take that into consideration along with your ad. Don't let a high click-through rate ad blow through your entire budget if it's not converting customers into purchasers. Instead, try to replicate what made that ad so engaging, all while trying to improve your conversion rate as well. The other metrics I mentioned, such as your average order value and your conversion rate, are largely influenced by your website and your product offering. If your conversion rate is low, consider the user experience on your website. Issues such as checkout problems, poor organization, and perception of low quality can negatively impact your conversion rate. Make sure that the ad you're serving really connects to your landing page experience as well. Make it really sell the product by pushing how the product is going to benefit the customer. Now, for your ROAS, that is going to be your purchase conversion value divided by your spend. If you remember, I said to be careful about this metric, and I'll tell you why. Most business owners want to have an immediate return on their advertising, so they're looking to operate at a 3x ROAS. However, they're not thinking about the opportunity for creating future cash flow. That customer journey is likely to have a lifetime value of a specific amount, and that customer journey is likely to drive more revenue in the future from what you initially got from your first average order value. If you can predict what the lifetime value of all your customers are that you're acquiring, then you can actually look at your lifetime value in correlation with your cost per acquisition and accept a higher CPA. You can think about all the customer journeys you're acquiring as future revenue. That's why some businesses will actually operate at a below break-even return on ad spend. So in my book, I'm trying to acquire customers as cheap as possible. I'll touch on this more in a future video, but don't look at ROAS as the end goal because it can be very inflated. For example, one day if you get a lucky purchase of $1,000 from a campaign, it's going to look like you have an 11 ROAS, and that can even skew your data for multiple days in a row. That does not mean that you're profitably acquiring new customers. It just means that you got lucky on a specific day. This is why you need to take in the full context of your data to make informed decisions in your ad account. Now, the last metrics I want to talk about are the AIDA metrics for analyzing creative performance. The first metric is attention. Attention is measured by the hook rate, which is 3-second video views divided by impressions. This is going to show the percentage of impressions on your ad that actually stopped at the hook of the ad. The I in AIDA stands for interest, and that is measured by through plays divided by impressions. This is also commonly referred to as the hold rate. The hold rate is how many people watched your ad for a given period of time after the hook. And the D in AIDA stands for desire, or that is measured by your click-through rate. After the hook of your ad, how many people actually clicked through to the website and desired your product from that advertising. The last letter is action, and this is measured by your return on ad spend and your conversion rate. Also, look at your CPA for this metric as well. Make sure you take all the data in for a complete picture of your creative analysis. For example, the metric hold rate can be very inflated if your ad is only 5 seconds long. Take everything within context. The next section is how to properly use these metrics to analyze your account's performance. So when you jump into the ad account, what's the first thing that you look at? Make sure you're not looking at your performance on a single day window. Make sure to analyze your ad's performance on at least a 4 to 7 day window to account for delayed attribution and to ensure that you're giving Facebook the proper amount of time to optimize, which is usually within a 7-day window. You can also use Facebook Ads Compare tool to look at the trends of the metrics in your account. To make informed decisions in an ad account, ensure that you're spending at least 2 to 3 times your average order value before making a decision on whether or not to turn off an ad or to continue keeping it running. I also like to look at other soft metrics such as add to carts to see if we're stimulating more purchase demand. This can give an indication if there's delayed attribution to come. If an ad is not meeting performance targets, then turn it off. But be aware of the impact that turning off one ad getting a high level of spend has on the other ads within your ad set. This is called the breakdown effect, and it's where Facebook assigns budgets to each ad in an ad set based on their predictive performance. If you turn off an ad in an ad set, that spend is going to flow into all the other ads in the ad set. Facebook may understand that if you were to spend more on that ad, that it would actually break down and have a higher CPA and worse performance. Therefore, Facebook may see something that you don't, and if you turn off that ad getting a lot of spend and then spend flows into these other ads, they may actually depreciate in performance as well. So your CPA will increase if you don't have other ads within the ad set that you're confident can meet performance targets. To maintain stability of your CPA in an ad account, ensure you have one ad that you are confident that can handle a lot of ad spend at your profitability targets, and also have other strong ads to supplement that performance within the ad set. Having a bunch of really strong ads within one campaign is the best way that you can have very stable results, because Facebook is able to have those ads support each other to get the most stability within that ad set. Once you find a really strong backbone of multiple winning ads, it'll actually help you be able to slow down your creative testing and be a lot more intentional with what you're putting into your ad account, and also know and understand what performs better than other things. A really great ad is something that can perform for months on end at scale. A decent ad is something that performs for a few weeks and then falls off. I want to find a winning ad that has longevity and can last months in an ad account. And remember, if you're optimizing for 7-day click, 1-day view, or 7-day click attribution settings, you need to let Facebook do its job and optimize for the full 7-day window of time. Attribution windows are not just for reporting conversions, and it's actually an optimization setting telling Facebook to get purchases within a specific time frame. So for 7-day click, you're optimizing for customers likely to click to your website within 7 days and purchase your product. Try not to tinker with your ad account as much as you can and let it do its job and optimize for the full 7-day window to get those purchases. Honestly, the main rule for making decisions in an ad account as a media buyer, and I say this as someone who really loves creative strategy, is to take as much emotion out of it as possible. Next, we're going to be talking about the ad account structure. Now, it's important to keep things as simple and consolidated as possible in your ad account. This can help you more easily manage and optimize your account effectively. I personally think you should only be using broad targeting in 2023. Forget your interests and lookalike audiences. They just simply create too many variables in the ad account that makes it hard to assess performance. At the end of the day, the creative does the targeting. So if you have a lookalike and interest audience, it makes it really hard to analyze the creative performance. Putting a bad performing ad into a lookalike or interest audience is not going to improve your performance. It's just simply going to waste more of your money. But the ad account structure can still vary a lot based on your business objectives. Consider making a new campaign for every separate business objective. If you have products with wildly different average order values and profit margins, and you put them all into the same campaign, that's going to really screw up your bid in the auction and make it hard for Facebook to optimize for a low CPA that you're looking for. The algorithm's confused about what cost per acquisition you're going for because you throw a $400 average order value product in the same campaign as a $50 average order value. You're going to have wildly different CPAs for those two separate products. And you're going to see really messy performance because of it. Limit each campaign to one business objective or one product offering. Consolidation is crucial, but it does not mean to throw everything randomly into one campaign, and only create a new campaign if your budget can warrant it. And most importantly, make sure that every campaign has the proper budget to help that campaign optimize and get 50 conversion events in a week. If you're asking yourself specifically, how much do I spend per campaign? There's a formula to decide this. This formula will give you the daily budget per ad set in a campaign. Take your CPA, multiply it by 50, and then divide that by 7. That's your daily budget per ad set to exit the learning phase in 1 week. If you don't know what your CPA in Facebook looks like because you never ran ads before, start by using the formula assuming 1.5 times to 2 times the CPA that you're looking for. Also, there are often a lot of questions about the learning phase on Facebook, and I want to address some of them for a second. Because I do think the learning phase matters, but not to a large extent. I personally believe that you can tell if an ad won't perform well before exiting the learning phase. So don't waste your money on bad, underperforming ads. If you have a bad batch of ads that can't get 50 conversion events in a week, waiting around for those 50 conversions to come through is not going to help you get performance once it exits the learning phase. In a lot of cases, Facebook will show you this through the learning limited warning that appears at the ad set level. This means Facebook's telling you these ads are not simply good enough to drive 50 conversions in a week. Now, at the same time, it's very important to get those 50 conversions in a week. This not only helps the algorithm make stronger decisions, but it will significantly lower your cost per acquisition. And you can achieve this by finding a winning ad that will drive 15 or more purchases a day. Once you find a winner like this, don't be afraid to slowly increase your budget by 20% every day. Make sure you're only adjusting your budget 20% each day or so that you're not exiting the learning phase with a big budget shift. Understanding the learning phase and how it works is very important to driving strong performance for your ads, but don't let it hold you back from making necessary changes in your account. If you're running a small account and you're spending the proper budget and you're not getting 50 conversion events in a week, continue to test new ads. Don't wait and blow your budget to get 50 conversion events through shitty ads. I hope this made sense. If you have any questions on it, please leave a comment below. The last section is about creative testing and how you decide when a creative test is either a winner or a loser. I would have a separated creative testing campaign so that you can test new concepts on a low budget and then scale into these tests if there's opportunity for success. Once you've identified a winner, drip those winning ads into your core campaigns using a post ID to retain your social proof. Honestly, a lot of people ask the question whether or not to use an ABO testing campaign or a CBO testing campaign, and I think it's up to personal preference. I do think that CBO works for creative testing and let spend show you which ads are most likely to succeed. However, personally, I like to use ABOs for testing so that I can have each ad in its own silo and get a proper amount of spend. For example, in a CBO testing campaign, sometimes an ad will have a really high click-through rate or estimated action rate and drive a ton of spend to it, but not a bunch of purchases, which I feel sometimes can take away from the other ads that may have potential for success but won't get the spend because they're in the CBO. Also, in a CBO testing campaign, ads that have less social proof are less likely to have a high estimated action rate and less likely to get spend over the ads that have historically been in that campaign. So how do you decide if a creative test is a winner or not? This all ties back to optimizing your ad account. Use the same principles I taught you when evaluating your creative tests to see if you think an ad can handle a higher level of spend. Make sure you have a statistically significant amount of spend through an ad set before determining whether an ad can drive a number of purchases. Ideally, you should let a creative test run for that full 7 days and then spend 3 to 4 times your average order order value on an ad to get a clear sense of if it will perform or not. If the ad's not delivering desirable results at that point, then turn it off. In my personal experience, it's usually apparent within the first 4 to 7 days whether an ad is going to perform well or not. Make sure you're looking at all of the data. Is it getting a lot of spend? Do you have a lot of add to carts? Is there potential for delayed attribution? Take all of this into account when making decisions in your ad account. And some of the points I'm making may absolutely be contradictory. I'm telling you, do not touch anything within 4 to 7 days of launching something at all. However, sometimes you need to make those tough calls if you're on a really tight budget. And if you're on a really tight budget and really need to protect your bottom line, I urge you to try out cost caps. Setting a cost cap or a cost per result goal will let you set a target CPA within the platform for a specific ad set. That'll let Facebook analyze your ads and decide whether or not it thinks they will perform at the desired target. And if it can't see that it's going to perform at that CPA target, then it's not going to spend your money at all. This is a different optimization setting, meaning it's going to be targeting a different audience, but this can be really valuable for specific products. And that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found it of value to you. Remember to focus on the most important metrics, carefully analyze your ads performance, and also follow best practices. If you made it to the end and you found this tutorial helpful, please hit that like button. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll be sure to answer everything in the comments below, and consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching. I hope you all keep crushing it out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.